It's your boy Facts with Cannon and David, the Jedi Master. What's going on, David? What's going on, Cannon?
What's going on, y'all? We in here. I'm excited. It's another show. Less about me, more about the team. I'm just happy that we was able to get through this presentation in terms of putting it together over the last couple of weeks. Unveiling atheism, exploring the religious dimensions of non-belief, and then as the subtitle, can you advocate for pro-Black ideals while embracing evolutionary theory and atheism?
It's a great question. That's a phenomenal question, honestly, to be real with you. But I think we should start off with the defining stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, just so we set the ground floor. Ain't nobody even, they can go research the stuff themselves. They can go, you know what I'm saying, look up the definitions themselves. They can see what all this stuff mean, where the history come from, all of this. Because it ain't speculation. We're just talking about the data. Argue the data, please.
Let's get to it. Speculation talk over. We're gonna go into slide one. So the introduction. Atheism is often seen as a non-religious stance, but it carries religious dimensions and its philosophical and ideological foundations. In this presentation, we will explore how atheism, commonly perceived as a non-religious stance, possesses intricate religious dimensions embedded within its philosophical and ideological foundations. So our journey will unveil the complexities of atheism, delving into its inherent beliefs and the philosophical underpinnings that often mirror traditional religious structures. So that's basically what we plan to do today. Without further ado, we're going to get into it.
All right, cool. Now, this definition, this comes straight from Merriam-Webster. This is not some made up. You can look this up. You can Google it. It defines atheism. And I don't want to give this whole English lesson. Shout out to Craig. I had to give him this lesson a little bit ago and define what a subsense is.
You talking about Ratchet Craig?
Yeah.
Okay.
Craig. So when Ratchet Craig, I had to give him this lesson and teach him what a subsense is. I suggest you guys look into what a subsense is and look into the definition of atheism. So it says, notice it's all under the same definition, 1A and B. It's not 1A, it's not 1 and 2. It's not two separate definitions. It's 1A or B, right? A lack of belief or strong disbelief in the existence of a god or any gods. A philosophical or religious position characterized by disbelief in the existence of a god or any gods. Well, what's a religious position? A religious position refers to a specific role, office, or viewpoint within a religious organization or belief system. I can't stress this enough. You don't have to be in a religious organization in order to have a belief system. I kind of proved this in the back chats as well when we discussed it. You know what I'm saying? We can't argue. I don't want to argue definitively what things are. You can look these things up yourself. We have no problem providing definitions for these things, but that's just what it is. Religion has less to do with what the faith is you're practicing and more to do with the actions you're doing as a result of what you believe in or what your faith is. That's the definition of religion. You can look that up. As an example. You mind if I share my screen real quick, D? If that's all right?
Yeah. Let me figure out how to do that.
Nah, take your time. Hold on. I'm pulling it up anyway. As an example of what religion looks like, because a lot of people conflate what it actually means. People make it seem like religion is the faith as well as the actions, and thanks to societal commonality in the use of the word, we've made it such. But consider the fact that bootylicious is now in the dictionary as a result of common use among society, right? However, religion by definition is the actions that you commit to from what you believe in. If you believe something to be true, your actions will follow suit. Just for a small example, you believe children should be protected, so you do your best to protect children. Belief, religion, cause, effect, thought, action. That's just what religion is. Okay? I'm going to give you an example from the Christian perspective of how religion is perceived. I'm going to hit share screen real quick, D, if you don't mind.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't know how to share your screen. I can share mine.
Don't worry about it. I got you.
What do you, if you tell me what, with the look up, I'll pull it up on my screen real quick.
You should see a pop up on your end for my screen request to be shared. Do you see it? If you look on my end, it'll say that I'm presenting or sharing my screen.
Uh, that I don't see.
You don't see it.
Guess I should have worked that out before we jumped on.
No. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I'm gonna just read it.
Hold on, do it one more time. Do it one more time.
I got you. I got you. Too easy. There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. This is the scripture. This is the Christian perspective. I'm not pushing my faith on nobody. I'm just giving you the definition of religion as we understand it according to the dictionary and from the Bible. Okay. Pure and genuine religion in the sight of God, the Father, means caring for orphans and widows in their distress and refusing to let the world corrupt you. What does that have to do with your faith? Those sound like actions. Those sound like actions. Well, Jay, what you talking about? How does this incorporate your faith if you're saying that faith and religion are separate? I'm not saying that faith and religion is separate. Definitively, in the dictionary, faith and religion are separate. They just are. What you believe in is what you commit to in your actions. That's what religion is. Religion is your actions that stem from what you believe in. Because we believe in Christ, and loving your neighbor as you love yourself, religion is this: caring for orphans and widows in their distress and refusing to let the world corrupt you. I hope that was clear. I think that was clear, right? That was straight to the point, right, D?
Yeah, that was clear.
All right, let's go ahead and jump back into it. Next slide, Brody.
All right, so now we're gonna get into it. Yes, sir.
David, you want to read this, if you don't mind?
Okay. The Enlightenment period, 17th to 18th centuries. I think part of it is blocked out, but a philosophical movement emphasizing reason, individualism, and skepticism of traditional authority. And I think that this needs to be explained a little further. There
you go. I removed it.
Okay, an intellectual and philosophical movement emphasizing reason, individualism, and skepticism of traditional authority. So, what does that mean? Well, in light of what the Bible says, traditional authority is God. The idea of a belief in a supreme being, and the idea of a particular belief system, and again, the founders of the forerunners for this particular movement is Immanuel Kant, Baruch Spinoza, and a guy by the name of Thomas Paine. Thomas Paine wrote two books. One is called Age of Reason, and number two is Common Sense. As a matter of fact, Thomas Paine actually was instrumental in the writing and the drafting of the Declaration of Independence, and he also brought Benjamin Franklin over here because he was an Englishman. Both of them were Englishmen. But Thomas Paine was was a pretty interesting character. He did not believe in a God. He did not believe in the God of the Bible. He believed in a deist form of God, or he believed that his mind was his church. This is what he stated: "My mind is my church." Benjamin Franklin was a member of the Hellfires Club.
And this was all, I'm sorry, and this was all during the Enlightenment period, right? Just for clarity.
Yes.
Okay.
Friedrich Nietzsche was the forerunner.
You're going too far. You're going too far ahead, bro. Okay. Stay on topic.
But the Enlightenment era was the factor in the growth of what we know as theological modernism, liberalism, and atheism, under the guise of what is called naturalism. Naturalism is the idea that the world was formed outside of a supernatural of supernaturalism. Let's just put it that way. Over
Question.
supernatural.
So Jamel, do you for Kyle, because it seems like he must have missed the first 5 minutes.
I'm not doubling back. He should be listening. He should be reading, or he can scroll back. He rewind. I'm not doing that. Let's keep it pushing.
Say less. Let's go to the next page.
Yeah.
So the first person, Matthias Knudsen, 1646 to 1674, was one of the earliest openly atheistic philosophers during the Enlightenment period. His work laid the foundation for modern atheism by challenging traditional religious authority and advocating for secular thought, promotion of reason and empirical evidence. Knudsen emphasized the importance of reason and empirical evidence over religious dogma. His writings argue that truth should be based on observable facts and logical reasonings, not on religious doctrines. Criticized the church for its hypocrisy and corruption, claimed that religious beliefs were grounded in fear and superstition rather than in rational thought. And so, of course, his impact was on secular thought, where he shifted towards a secular worldview, inspiring future atheists and secular philosophers. So he had a bold stance against religious orthodoxy and encouraged a culture of skepticism. He just one of the founding fathers, in my opinion, of modern atheism. So his work represented a significant step in the evolution of atheistic philosophy. All right.
Am I mistaken, or am I correct in saying that he was the one that coined the term itself? Or am I tripping?
That right there, I mean, that's a subject for debate. That particular topic right there.
Yeah, I know it goes back way further into Greeks, because it started with the Greeks, right? But I'm specifically speaking about publicly using that term to identify. It was him, right?
Right.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah. So as David so eloquently put, Baruch Spinoza, 1632 to 1677, was a Dutch philosopher whose work laid the groundwork for a naturalistic and atheistic mindset. His philosophy, notably outlined in Ethics, published posthumously in 1677, challenged traditional religious beliefs and offered a perspective that emphasized rationality and naturalistic explanations for the universe. Spinoza's concept of pantheism equated God with nature, marked a departure from traditional monotheistic views by viewing the natural world as divine and interconnected. He paved the way for a mindset that did not rely on supernatural explanations or religious dogma to understand the cosmos. His emphasis on reason and rational inquiry over faith and revelation encouraged the shift towards secularism and skepticism of religious institutions. Spinoza's ideas resonated with later thinkers who sought to explore the universe through empirical evidence and scientific inquiry, contributing to the development of atheistic and materialistic philosophies that continue to shape modern thought.
Now, my question here, because I noticed you mentioned naturalistic and atheistic mindset. Is he the father of naturalism?
Yeah,
he is. Okay. What exactly is naturalism? Can we look into that real quick? Let me see.
You want to pull it up?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna pull that up right now. I think it's best that we define that. I think we should define that.
So right now we just pulling up what naturalism is for those who just joining in with us. I think one of the things we need to do is put all the information out on the table. Once you collect the data, you can make a educated decision as opposed to just commenting, watching 30 seconds of a video.
All right, here we go. Let me share my screen.
Share your screen. Sorry.
Exactly. You should see it shortly.
At the stage. There we go.
All right. I'll read the first paragraph and I suggest they go look into it themselves. In philosophy, naturalism is the idea that only natural laws and forces, as opposed to supernatural ones, operate in the universe. In its primary sense, it is also known as ontological naturalism, metaphysical naturalism. That's interesting. Pure naturalism, philosophical naturalism, and anti-supernaturalism. Ontological refers to ontology, the philosophical study of what exists. Philosophers often treat naturalism as equivalent to materialism, but there are important distinctions between the philosophies. That's interesting. So naturalism is a belief system, right? It's a belief system, regardless of whether or not it's a traditional faith, such as those that are Abrahamic or not. We can all agree that this is a belief system, just like atheism is a belief system. It's the belief that no God exists, right?
Mhm.
There are no gods. Naturalism, likewise, only the natural world is what exists. That's what this is defined as. I'm gonna stop sharing now, bro. Let's keep it going.
All right, say less. All right, Voltaire. Voltaire was a French writer and philosopher, or Francois Marie Aret. Was a vocal critic of the Catholic Church and religious intolerance. He advocated for freedom of thought and expression, contributing significantly to the Enlightenment secular mindset. Known for his sharp wit and satirical style, Voltaire used his writings to challenge the status quo and promote rational thinking. Here's a quote: "Every sensible man, every honorable man, must hold the Christian sect in horror." Voltaire expressed his disdain for the hypocrisy and intolerance he saw in Christianity. Another quote: "The Negro race is a species of men as different from ours as the breed of spaniels is from that of greyhounds."
Jesus
And
Christ.
that's crazy. That was from him reflecting his erroneous and harmful beliefs about racial differences. Another quote: "It is a serious question among them whether they are descended from monkeys or not. Already one sees certain parts of their anatomy in which they resemble these animals." So from Voltaire's, that's from Essai sur les. I can't read French too well. That's bad. I'm Haitian and I don't really know a lot of French. That's on me.
That's from his book. Got you.
Yeah, from his book.
Reflecting his
offense.
and
Yeah.
Intriguing.
And then, so I just thought that was crazy how he had Voltaire's views on race and religion were controversial. He held racist beliefs and racial superiority and wrote disparagingly about non-European peoples. So he vehemently criticized the Catholic Church and religious institutions, advocating for secular society based on reason and individual freedom.
What's interesting is that he considered, this is just from what I'm reading, right? He expressed his disdain and hypocrisy and intolerance he saw in Christianity, while he himself considered niggas to be monkeys, and less. He even compared us to that of dogs.
Yeah.
Intriguing. All right, let's keep it pushing. What's the next slide? Let's keep pushing. We got a lot of work to cover. I got this one. French Catholic priest and philosopher Jean Muselier, posthumously known for his atheistic beliefs. Meslier's writings revealed his rejection of religion in the church, advocated for a society based on reason and moral principles independent of religious influence. Critique of religion. Meslier's work criticized religious institutions for hypocrisy and corruption, emphasized the need for ethical standards based on rationality and humanism. Impact. His manuscript influenced Enlightenment thinkers. That's a big one. That's important. Keep in mind, we've been talking about the Enlightenment era thus far. His manuscript influenced Enlightenment thinkers and contributed to the development of secular thought. Challenged traditional religious authority and promoted free inquiry and skepticism. Considered a pioneer of atheism and secularism, his ideas laid the groundwork for future philosophers advocating for a secular society. Significance. Meselier's work highlighted the tensions between religious dogma and rational thought during the Enlightenment, contributed to the intellectual movement that questioned traditional authority and promoted individual autonomy.
You know, it was funny. His book was written and it was written by him, but translated by Voltaire, who was on the slide right before that. So if that's your man's, like he you know, we already know what his views are. You know how he views black people. You know how he views a lot of things. I just think that's interesting. And it's Jean, even though it says Jean. That's just how you pronounce it. I know. But let's move on. Let's rock out.
Keep moving. Yeah. David Hume, Scottish philosopher renowned for contributions to philosophy, especially his empirical approach to human knowledge. Advocated empiricism, the idea that all knowledge is derived from sensory experience. skeptical of concepts not grounded in empirical evidence. A treatise of human nature explored the foundations of human psychology and cognition. I could just imagine what this piece of shit might have done. I'm being super serious. Keeping in mind that he believes, right, that all knowledge is derived from sensory experience, meaning you gotta physically do it. I could just imagine what this scum sucker might have done to arrive with the knowledge that he might have had. Keeping in mind that he was studying human psychology and cognition. How many lobotomies you think this rat piece of shit might have performed on niggas? I'm gonna keep it moving though. I'm gonna keep it moving because we got a point we making. We got a point we making too.
Ready to go to the next slide?
Yeah, no. Let me keep going real quick. Just a couple more. Critique religious beliefs, particularly the rationality of miracles, arguing the volatile nature, natural laws derived from experience, argue that religious beliefs often rely on miracles and supernatural events, which is completely false, which lack empirical evidence and rational justification. You can move to the next slide.
All right. Just a heads up, we may have children listening.
I got you. I'm gonna be careful.
Baron de Holbach, 1723 to 1789. Paul Henry Thierry Baron de Holbach was a prominent French philosopher and writer who openly promoted atheism. De Holbach's most famous work, The System of Nature, from 1770, was a comprehensive critique of religion and a robust argument for a materialistic understanding of the universe. He argued that the universe operates without divine intervention and that religious beliefs are detrimental to human progress. The Holbach's salon in Paris became a hub for Enlightenment thinkers, where ideas about atheism, secularism, and rationalism were vigorously debated and disseminated. So his racial views and quotes, let me give you a few. While de Holbach made significant contributions to atheistic thought, he also held views that reflected the racial bias of his time. In The System of Nature, de Holbach wrote about different races in ways that would be considered racist today. For example, he described certain non-European peoples as savages and considered Europeans to be superior.
Pause right there, King Cannon. Pause right there, King Cannon. You know what I find really interesting though, King? A lot of these cats have the exact same approach to how they believe mankind came about and their understanding on people groups. Have you noticed that? Or am I tripping?
Yeah. Let's go with this quote.
Yeah, please go. Please read this quote. I'm interested to hear this. Please.
The Negroes of Africa have no religion and they have no form of worship. They believe in a kind of evil spirit who is supposed to do them much harm.
Now, hold on real quick. Keeping in mind, this is a man who promoted atheism. Why is he concerned with what the beliefs of the Negro in Africa even, what they hold true? Why does he care about that?
Yeah.
Why does he care about that? Why is he so fixated on ensuring that he communicates that we have no form of worship? Mind you, he has no clue of what it is that Africans believed back then. I'm sure to some extent these manipulative people. I know it's children.
Right.
I know it's children. I'm catching myself, bro. I'm catching myself. I'm pretty sure they had an awareness of the fact that those in Africa had a belief system and a faith. I'm pretty sure that they did, but they were so fixated on pushing the superiority of their own race that they thought it was best to punch down on ours. But nonetheless, let's see what's going on. You was read the last sentence, bro. My fault.
Yeah.
Such statements reflect the ethnocentric and racist attitudes prevalent during the Enlightenment period. This was prevalent during the Enlightenment period. Hold on one second, bro. I just got to pull this up because you know how they got a problem with source. And I know we got the source page at the end of the you know how that go. The source at the end of the show. But I got to see something. Racism prevalent during Enlightenment period. Look at that.
You want me to show your screen?
Give me 2 seconds.
All right.
I'm about to pull it up right now. Pull it right now.
I mean, so far
it's from Oxford, so I know y'all like their definitions. Even though they timed out. I know y'all love their definitions, even though they don't Oxford don't update their definitions at all. But I know y'all like this, so we're gonna stick to reading from them so you can see it yourself. I'm not even gonna go through this whole article. I suggest y'all go read it for yourself. I'm gonna share my screen, bro, and then we can keep it pushing. Hold on 1 second here, fam. This is ridiculous.
All right.
Got it up, Brody.
At stage. There you go.
This is directly from Oxford Academic. This is from Oxford Academic. Racial Capitalism in Voltaire's Enlightenment. Didn't we just talk about him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Racial Capitalism in Voltaire's Enlightenment. I suggest you look it up yourself. We don't got enough time to go over it here. I suggest you go look it up yourself. But there's quite a bit of information here. Quite a bit of information that's necessary for you to look into it. Just a quick, I'm just going to read this right here. Right here. Voltaire played an important role in affecting the discursive shift from viewing black people as barbaric heathens to subhuman, for whom human bondage seemed the logical but regrettable extension of the race's many shortcomings.
Hey, man. I don't know, man. I mean, we talking about the Enlightenment period. This don't seem enlightening. It seems like they hating on us.
Bro.
Let's go to the next character.
Next slide. It ain't
looking. Oh my goodness!
Here we go. Here we go.
Go ahead, Dave.
Well, Herbert Spencer, 1820 to 1903, renowned English philosopher and sociologist, known for his theory of social Darwinism and its application to various fields like sociology, ethics, and politics.
Pause right there before you even go any deeper. I want all of y'all to take a moment to go look up what social Darwinism is, keeping in mind that all of these people had the exact same line of thought concerning black people. And this person was renowned as a sociologist, and he applied social Darwinism to sociology, ethics, and politics. Your laws. The laws. Can somebody tell me which amendment is it? Is it the 13th? Which one is it? Where you go to jail, you lose your ability to be you're no longer able to vote and such. You're essentially just a new slave. Their thought processes literally structured the entire understanding of how the world worked. I believe somewhere in American history, it was documented that we was 3/5 of a man.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
This shit runs deep. It runs deep. But David, by all means, brother, I'm sorry for cutting you off. Please continue, King. You were actually right about the speak. You was right on the word while not explicitly an atheist. Please continue.
You on mute, Dave.
Okay. Coin the phrase, quote unquote, survival of the fittest, encapsulating the concept of natural selection in both biological and societal contexts. Believed that human progress was governed by natural laws akin to biological evolution, emphasizing the principle of survival of the fittest. So that's kind of interesting because this man actually turned evolution into a philosophy.
Into a philosophy. He took the study, keeping in mind Darwin was a racist rat bastard too. You can go read it in The Origins of a Species. Go read it for yourself. However, Darwin, if you go read the book, was trying to draw a clear line between what the naturalists believe and what he was what's the word I'm looking for?
Purporting.
What he was presenting to people. He was under the impression scientifically that it could be proven that the blacks were a subspace, not just blacks, but any race other than the white race, were a subhuman category. Herbert Spencer, took it from science and intermingled it with sociology, ethics, and politics. He literally took Darwinism and added the social part to it and got it incorporated in every facet of life, from education to politics, you name it. It was all inclusive. Now, you, black person, are not even just considered less than from a scientific standpoint. Now they got your ass law in the school books, the whole shebang.
You ain't lying. Talk about that notable quote. Read that notable quote.
It's too easy. If they are sufficiently complete to live, they do live. And it is well they should live. If they are not sufficiently complete to live, they die. And it is best they should die.
So kind of similar to what Margaret Sanger said, isn't it?
Oh, real similar. Real
Oh,
similar.
say less. She in here too, bro.
Spencer's groundbreaking ideas significantly influenced social and political thought during his era. His perspective treated evolution as a comprehensive philosophy, extending beyond biology to encompass societal and cultural dynamics. I implore you to go read it for yourself. The sources will be at the end of this. Please go read it for yourself.
Say less. We're gonna move to the next slide. Oh, there you go, right there.
Charles Darwin. Please, can I have this one?
You got it.
Revolutionized scientific thought on the origin of a species by means of natural selection. A lot of people tend to leave out the whole title of that book. You ever notice that? We usually stop on the origin of species. We never get to the part, listen to this, by means of natural selection or the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life. Evolution, the theory of natural selection, as written by Charles Darwin, had everything to do with racism.
Yeah.
Everything to do with it. The name of the book even speaks to it. Or the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life. Who's the favored race? Keeping in mind that even Hitler believed and ran with these thought processes. Am I not mistaken? Was not Adolf Hitler a social Darwinist? In the very book, I want to pull this up. Hold on 1 second, bro. Hold on 1 second. Peep game. Can I share my screen real quick?
You got it.
I mean, just share that screen real quick, Brody. Just real quick. And then we can go back to the slides. You
up.
There you go. Charles Darwin was notoriously ambiguous in his remarks about relation between human evolution and biological race. He stressed the original unity of the races, yet he also helped to popularize the notion of racial hierarchy, filling the gaps between the highest anthropoids and civilized Europeans. I suggest you go back, instead of speaking on what's going on immediately, trace the conversation. Trace the conversation. I got time to address these comments. What's next, Brody?
Okay.
Y'all hold on to y'all beliefs. Naturalism versus Darwinism. I love this slide.
You got it.
The conflation of naturalism and Darwinism. Early naturalism emerged as a philosophical belief emphasizing natural laws and empirical observation, not explicitly tied to evolutionary theory initially. Charles Darwin's contributions, 19th century, 1859, Darwin publishes On the Origin of Species, introduces the theory of natural selection aligning with naturalistic principles, emphasizing natural processes over supernatural explanations. Herbert Spencer and Social Darwinism, 19th century. Spencer develops social Darwinism, merges evolutionary principles with societal progress, extending beyond pure scientific discourse, conflates natural selection with human societies, promoting a naturalistic understanding of social development, popularizes the term survival of the fittest, linking it to societal hierarchies. Do me a favor. Even if you want to go worship Darwin, there's no way you can escape the damning fact that it was completely conflated what he wrote in the book On the Origin of a Species with social Darwinism and the partitioning of people groups. You can't escape that. And this is Googleable, by the way. Impact and legacy continues to influence scientific, social, and philosophical discourses, provides a framework for understanding human behavior and societal evolution through naturalistic lenses, represents a mixture of scientific theory with broader societal and philosophical implications. This is actually happening. This isn't something that I'm just making up. You can Google this. This is easily Googleable. The two things were conflated. Evolution it's not, his book he didn't even use the words evolution to describe what it was he was talking about. He was talking about that. He actually called it, if I'm not mistaken, because a certain somebody's question whether or not I read the book, descent with modification. He never called it evolution. It didn't get called evolution until Herbert Spencer, who actually twisted it and applied it to society at large. That's Googleable. That's Googleable. Next slide, Brody. What's next?
The rise of atheism during the Enlightenment. So number one, go for it.
Scientific inquiry and religious skepticism. The Enlightenment witnessed a surge in scientific inquiry and skepticism towards religious authority. Number two, naturalistic explanations. Figures like Isaac Newton and Galileo Galilei provided naturalistic explanations for natural phenomena, diminishing the reliance on divine intervention. They were atheists. Weakening the religious credibility. The scientific revolution eroded the credibility of religious explanations, paving the way for more secular interpretations of the world. So, in other words, the Enlightenment era paved the way for the unbelief that we're seeing in today's world, especially when it regards to who we are as people and how the world began. Number four, development of atheistic ideas. Concurrently, atheism became more articulated and prominent, with intellectuals openly expressing disbelief in gods and supernatural explanations. And number five, dissemination of atheistic ideas. The advent of the printing press and rising literacy rates facilitated the spread of atheistic ideas across Europe, challenging traditional beliefs. Oh, you mean to tell me that's how they got into the school system? I'm sorry, the public school system.
Let's move to the next slide. You can read this one too if you want. I know this one the printer's a little small, but I wanted to squeeze it all in there.
Oh God, I can't see that. Oh, the Enlightenment era opening from the 1700s to the 1800s marked a pivotal shift towards secular governance, driven by the ideas of prominent philosophers like John Locke. And I can't see this person. The advocacy for the separation of church and state. Let me explain what that means. The idea of separation of church and state means no state religion. We're not England anymore. We're not Europe. So, we don't believe in a state religion. Aim to establish the governance based on reason, consent, and natural laws, rather than religious doctrine, signifying a departure from the religious-centric political systems of the past. While this separation allowed for the development of more secular societies where religious belief was no longer the central organizing principle, it also brought about significant challenges and conflicts. One of the critical areas impacted was racial views and policies, where Enlightenment ideals often intersected with discriminatory practices. Additionally, the Enlightenment era witnessed the beginning of eugenicist ideals, with scientific advancements in areas like biology, medicine, leading to the misguided belief in racial superiority and the justification of discriminatory practices based on pseudoscientific notions. John Locke, known for his contributions to political philosophy, argued that political authority should be derived from the consent of the governed, not from divine
mandate.
This shift in authority often resulted in power struggles and political instability as different factions vied for control. Can't say his name. The concept of the separation of powers aimed to prevent tyranny and ensure checks and balances within governance. Oh, so you mean to tell me the Enlightenment era kind of incentivized the rise of socialism and communism and Marxism, which pretty much resulted in tyranny and people getting hundreds and millions of people getting killed because of the idea of social Darwinism?
Yes, that's exactly it. Precisely. That's
Yeah,
exactly it.
encourage people
That's
like,
exactly it. It's wild to me that people don't see. And I say, even if you wanted to make Darwin innocent, even if you saw it somehow, some way that Darwin was innocent, you can't escape the fact that Herbert Spencer literally conflated it, took it, and made it much more than just some idea of what it is that biology is communicating. He made it much more than that. So much so, these people are already racist. Intrinsically, they already had that racial bias within themselves. And they took it and twisted the science in order to make it something else. That's if you want to make Darwin innocent. That's if you want to make Darwin innocent.
there you have it. Despite these challenges, the influence of the Enlightenment ideas laid the groundwork for modern democratic systems. Oh, Mike, don't get me started. This is, again, and I keep, for the sake of reiterating myself or repeating myself, this is how socialism and Marxism started. Karl Marx, he read Darwin. As a matter of fact, he was influenced by Darwin when he was in college. Francis Galton, all of these individuals, same thing, emphasizing rationality, human rights, and the protection of individual freedom. So if you believe in evolution, and let me simplify this for a second. If you believe in evolution, then why in the world would you believe in in that there's morals? You don't believe that in the idea of right and wrong. You don't believe in the idea of right and wrong. You think that, well, the idea of me killing another person is the equivalent of me killing a roach or a rat
When it
or a
come to
rabbit.
niggas, when it come to niggas at least. When it come
Well,
to niggas at least. When it
but
come to niggas at least.
yeah. So I mean, it encourages racism and encourages racial superiority, because I don't see you as God sees me, as God sees you. I see you as just another piece of meat.
Let's slide to the next slide.
What's next? What's next?
Francis Galton, 1822 to 1911, a British polymath and cousin of Charles Darwin, played a pivotal role in founding the eugenics movement. As an atheist, Galton applied Darwinian principles to human reproduction, seeking to improve human populations through selective breeding and sterilization.
Hold on a second. He's Darwin's cousin.
Yeah.
But these niggas in the comments are saying Darwin was innocent. He had nothing to do with this.
I mean, to be honest, they absolutely don't know what they're talking about, because his was crazy. Yo, let me say this, because the material was in the books that we so eloquently didn't read. And bro, we the idiots. Somebody said that Darwin and Darwinism wasn't the same thing. So the term coined after him. I mean, I don't know what people be on nowadays. Maybe it's the weed.
Maybe it's the weed that they smoke.
Yeah, maybe it's the. I really don't know no more.
What's wild to me? What's really wild to me?
We're reading exactly what came out the book. This is stuff that you can
from their books,
so
bro.
We're pseudo for copy and pasting what they said about themselves. I didn't add nothing or take nothing out. I just put it in the slide. But they mad. It's definitely cognitive dissonance.
Let me tell you, D. Let me tell you what this is, bro. And I kid you not. And I don't care how mad these niggas get it all. The white man's ice is colder. They would much rather sit on this white dick of atheism and naturalism and social Darwinism than to ever consider the fact that the very thing that they hate so much is blacker than this bullshit. But let's continue. Mr. Galton. Mr. Galton, his ideas laid the foundation for eugenics. What's eugenics mean, D? What's eugenics? I don't know what eugenics is. I'm dumb.
We're gonna get into it. It's directly. It's 2 slides away.
Okay, well, let me keep on reading then. His ideas laid the foundation for eugenics, which aimed to promote the reproduction of fit individuals while discouraging or preventing unfit individuals from reproducing. Galton's work was deeply rooted in secular and scientific worldview, emphasizing the use of statistical methods, to understand and manipulate human heredity. However, it's crucial to note that Galton's views were tainted by racism, as he held beliefs about racial superiority and advocated for eugenic policies based on these discriminatory notions. This is a quote from him. "I do not join in the belief that the African is our equal in brain or in heart. I do not think that the average Negro cares for his liberty as much as an Englishman or as much as self-born Russian."
Yeah. So we're gonna go to the next slide. Margaret Sanger.
Ah, Margaret Sanger.
Jamel, read this so we can get through it. We 45 minutes in.
Of course, Margaret Sanger, an American birth control activist, was an influential figure in the early 20th century eugenics movement. As an atheist and advocate, these people all believe the exact same. Am I tripping?
Hey.
Am I tripping? Let me keep
Yeah.
reading.
Yeah, I guess we tripping.
As an atheist and advocate of evolutionary principles, Sanger believed in the application of scientific rationalist approaches to social engineering and particularly population control. You see how they like to mix the science with sociology? Are you peeping that? Am I the only one seeing this shit, bro? Is this the Twilight Zone? Am I fucking losing my mind right now? The idea that a black person would even advocate for this bullshit is wild to me. It's wild to me. Promotion of eugenics. Sanger supported the idea of improving human genetic quality by controlling reproduction. She advocated for the use of birth control to prevent the reproduction of those she considered unfit. Quotes from her views: more children from the fit, less from the unfit. That is the chief aim of birth control. Eugenics is the most adequate and thorough avenue to the solution of racial, political, and social problems. We do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. Here we go. Views on God. The most merciful thing that a large family does to one of its infant members is to kill it. No gods equals no masters. Dangers of eugenic science. Eugenics often led to coercive and discriminatory practices such as forced sterilizations and restrictions on reproductive rights. Racism and discrimination. The movement disproportionately targeted minorities, immigrants, and the economically disadvantaged, promoting a hierarchy based on flawed scientific principles. Definitely flawed. Eugenic policies violated individual freedoms and human rights, often justified by pseudoscientific reasoning. That's a damn fact. Sanger's advocacy for birth control had lasting impacts on reproductive rights, but her eugenicist beliefs and actions remain highly controversial. The history of eugenics underscores the potential dangers when scientific ideas are applied without ethical considerations and respect for human dignity. Next slide, Brody.
Let's move to the next slide. Let's get through this presentation. All right. So the definition of eugenics is a pseudoscientific movement that aims to improve human populations by selective breeding and sterilization to enhance desirable traits and discourage undesirable ones. So the origins, founded in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, eugenics gained popularity as a response to social concerns about poverty, disease, and perceived degeneration of human traits. Francis Galton, 1822 to 1911, a British polymath and a cousin again of Charles Darwin, laid the groundwork for eugenics, applying Darwinian principles to human reproduction. Margaret Sanger.
Interesting to me, right? Here's what's interesting to me, right? Nobody wants to stop and pay attention to the fact that the principles themselves is what's being applied in this understanding of how they want things to work concerning races. Even if you removed Darwin himself, let's say he had nothing to do with any of the stuff that happened or is going on today. It doesn't change the fact that the basis of all of their actions, their religion, is literally in the removal of the God they don't want to believe in. They all consider themselves atheists. They all consider themselves intellectuals. Yet, you intellectuals in the comments, want to side with the sciences and the information that these people are reporting? That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. Remove God from the table. What about anything that these people spewed, wrote down, and documented is anything for you as a black person to stand on?
I mean, they're not gonna be able to answer right now.
I got you. Racism and eugenics. Many eugenicists held racist beliefs, advocating for policies based on racial superiority and promoting eugenic measures targeted at marginalized communities. Impact on marginalized groups. Eugenic policies disproportionately affected minorities, immigrants, people with disabilities, and those deemed unresirable by eugenic standards. Eugenics movement faced ethical criticisms for its discriminatory practices, violation of human rights, and pseudoscientific foundations. The history of eugenics serves as a cautionary tale about the misuse of science and the importance of ethical considerations in scientific advancements and social policies.
Stop asking for the link. You see we doing a presentation. You can either wait to the end or you just won't get it.
They could wait. What's the next one, G? What's the next one? They ain't roughly my favorite. They the ones bothered.
But I'm just letting them know.
Science has the power to greatly benefit humanity, but it can also be manipulated to justify unethical and harmful practices. That is a stone cold fact. Stone cold fact. Pseudoscience, the eugenics movement, misuse scientific principles to promote racist and discriminatory ideologies. Human rights violations, policies based on eugenics led to forced sterilizations, reproductive restrictions, and other violations of individual rights. We already know about Frances Galton and Margaret Sanger. More children from the fit. We already know the quote. She don't really want niggas to populate. She don't want no population, no births from the nigga population. We don't want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. Too late. Too late. Nazi Germany. The Nazis used eugenics to justify their genocidal policies, including the Holocaust. Scientific racism was employed to categorize and persecute Jews, blacks, Romani people, and minority groups. The Tuskegee syphilis study. That's interesting. Y'all know about that one? In the U.S., this ain't in Germany. This ain't in France. This ain't in Greece. In the U.S., African-American men were unethically denied treatment for syphilis to study the progression of the disease, highlighting the manipulation of science for racist and unethical purposes. Let's talk about Purdue Pharma. The pharmaceutical company manipulated scientific data to downplay the effectiveness of opioids, contributing to the opioid crisis and widespread addiction. We arguing with facts? Is that what's happening, bro? What's the next one, G?
All right, we'll move to the next slide. So consequences of manipulated science. Discrimination. So we already know science can be manipulated, and it often targets marginalized groups of perpetuating racism and inequality. So ethical breaches, using science to justify unethical practices can lead to widespread human suffering and loss of trust in scientific institutions.
That's a fact. We saw it with COVID-19. Wasn't no black person even trying to get the vaccine because we were scared and bothered for what took place after the Tuskegee experiment. That's a fact. That's a fact. That is a fact. Argue with the facts. What's next, bro?
Okay, so policies based on manipulated science often disregard the intrinsic value and rights of individuals. Importance of ethics, ensuring scientific research and applications are guided by ethical principles is crucial. I'm going to the next one. Scrutinizing scientific claims and methodologies help prevent the misuse of science. Human rights science should always promote and protect human dignity and rights rather than undermine them. So in conclusion, the manipulation of science can have devastating consequences. It's essential to uphold ethical standards and ensure that scientific advancements serve to benefit humanity as a whole. Let's move.
Fact. Implication. You want me to run through this?
Yeah, run through it.
Racial stereotype and perpetuated harmful stereotypes leading to systemic discrimination in various areas. That actually happened. Much of the godfathers of the things that apply to science today actually saw black people in a very weird way. They hated blacks.
Shame.
Those stereotypes existed as a result.
Shame. Shame.
Can we bring up Henrietta Lacks? Johns Hopkins? Anybody?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like these things didn't actually happen.
That's what's crazy to me. This actually happened. What were the behind why these things took place? Exactly what we're reading right now.
Brothers. Listen, man. Listen. Y'all know. I appreciate y'all coming on the platform and doing y'all thing. Shout out to the Dream Team. Hey, man, but look. Y'all be having my unbelieving brothers and sisters in an uproar, man. If y'all listen, man, I'm gonna say this right now, right here for the record. If y'all make Juju turn on me, I'm not letting y'all come back on Paradigm Shift TV 314, man.
That works.
I'm letting y'all know right now. If
I am innocent of these charges, DMG.
If I lose Juju, hey, we gonna have.
Also, I gotta do is answer this question. Why was
Hey,
Henrietta Lacks killed?
Hey, shout out to my man Kyle, because I'm pretty sure he the one told everybody to come over here and watch. Cause look, I jumped out the shower and I was like, oh, my man's in them live. Hold up. we got some people in the building. Shout out to my bro. Shout out to the Dream Team. I appreciate y'all. I just wanted to come on and shout y'all out, man, and thank y'all for continuing to come on and pump out this info. Shout out to my sister Juju in the chat. Shout out to, I see Cedric tagging her. I don't even think I seen him on my channel before. So shout out to everybody that's watching. I appreciate everything y'all doing, man. Let's keep the dialogue going. And y'all, hey man, y'all look. If I lose my unbelieving friends, man, I don't know what y'all trying to do, but hey man, just take it easy, man. Y'all going too hard, man. Y'all going too hard.
That's it. All we did was copy and paste the information and put some pictures on it. That's it. None of this. None of this was written by us.
Hey, I gotta drop a bomb for my man. He say he been a sub. That's what's up. But I'm gonna keep listening, man. I'm gonna keep listening. Y'all keep going. I ain't mean to interrupt.
No, you good. You good. Intrinsic bias from school curriculum, colonial perspectives. Historical narratives often portray colonialism from a biased perspective. History is told by the victors. Glorifying conquerors and downplaying the impacts on indigenous populations. Selective history. School curricula may highlight achievements of dominant groups while marginalizing contributions from minority communities, creating a distorted view of history. Ain't this happening in Florida right now? Am I tripping?
You ain't lying.
That's happening in Florida. Okay, I'm just making sure I'm not tripping, bro. I'm just making sure I'm not tripping. Cultural, I don't even know how to say it. I didn't even go hold.
Hegemon is hegemon.
Thank you, bro. Dominant cultural norms and values are often presented as universal truths, reinforcing biases and stereotypes against marginalized groups. Eurocentric science. Scientific knowledge taught in schools often reflect Eurocentric perspectives, neglecting contributions from diverse cultures and perpetuating a biased view of scientific progress. That is actually true. I don't even know what the point of the argument is. Impact on identity. Biased education can lead to internalized bias, impacting students' self-perception and perpetuating societal inequalities. Incorporating diverse perspectives, critical analysis of historical narratives, and culturally relevant education can help mitigate intrinsic bias in school curriculum.
All right, let me go to the next slide.
Reese, this is the link. This is the sources. This is where we got all the information from. This is where we got the information from. This is the sources. Copied and paste from these places.
So we're just going to go back to the top. Any closing words before we do what we need to do?
To answer the question from my perspective, I wouldn't be caught dead as a Black person embracing the philosophy of evolution or atheism. I wouldn't be caught dead doing so. I have no problem with the science concerning the adaptability of any species on Earth. I'm going to say that again. I have no problem with the science concerning the adaptability of any species on Earth. However, the philosophy of evolution, as conflated by Herbert Spencer, I don't want nothing to do with. I couldn't possibly see myself aligning with that. That's crazy. That's crazy. What you got, bro?
All I'm saying is I'm happy we put together the presentation. We did what we needed. We did what we needed to do.
Of course, King. Of course.
$100 say we not supposed to link.
I'm not. You crazy. Are you crazy? Listen, let them go argue the data. I look like this ain't no debate. Fuck is this? It was a presentation. Go argue the data. Go make the videos y'all like to make. Get out of here.
These are the same people that got wrenches, but they don't do shows. They don't never do shows. They always got something to say, but they don't never do shows.
None of that. No, go argue the data. Go argue the data. Get out of here. What up, D? What you got to say, D?
I think it's a shame that when we're out here posting this kind of information, letting them know that this is what they're believing in. And this is this is exactly why I said the other day that they're Klansmen. I don't care how mad they get. They can get mad and do all the show, all of the.
Let them stay with that. Let them do that. Let them do the ad hominems, bro. Let them
Yeah, I
do
ain't
the
worried
ad
about that.
hominems.
I'll be doing that, bro. I'll be doing
See,
that, bro.
listen. I don't care what they think because they're not doing any shows. They got wrench, like Jamel said, they got wrenches. But they're not doing any shows. Why? Because nobody listens to them. Nobody listens to what they have to say. That's why they're on here telling us that we're the ones that are pseudo and all this other nonsense.
We literally just all we did was read biographies, fam.
Yeah, they won't look any of this stuff up. All of the stuff that you presented in this slide, they won't look any of it up. All they'll do is go back to their little whatever it is that they call it, and they'll just say, well, hey, they're pseudo, they're retarded. This is slow. This is all kinds.
Bunch of Uncle Ruckus.
Won't look at the information.
Uncle Ruckus with locks and fades.
Yeah. That's all it is.
Ruckus with locks and fades. Get out of here, bro. Listen.
But I'm pro-black, though. I'm pro-black. I love black people, even though I cuss them out every time when they don't believe anything, or every time I say something that they don't like, I'm gonna cuss them out. And I'm gonna say,
you want to argue information? Set up a debate date. This is a presentation. Have a good night. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Be mad. Be mad.
Yeah, fake Tariq. I want you to listen to a couple of more hidden color presentations.
Have a good night. God bless you.
Yo, that's crazy.